Happy New Year! Change in the schedule. I have moved the lives from a Wednesday to a Friday because I kept having to change the schedule, so I figured I'll just pick a day that I'm more likely to be home-based working. And then I also last minute have changed the time of the live from 4 till 3. So sorry if you were waiting around to watch this at 4, but I'm hoping that if I do it earlier rather than later, you'll be able to catch it up on replay. So I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. 2020, which sounds super duper fancy. I hope you had a really restful break, whatever you did, wherever you went. And hopefully some of those tips that I shared just before Christmas did help you get in the right mindset about lowering waste, especially when you are around people who maybe aren't so used to the concept of lowering waste that maybe you are. Having said that, if you had fabulous intentions and they just didn't quite work, it really doesn't matter. And I know that seems strange for me to say, seeing as I dedicate my life to zero waste living, but at the end of the day, if you tried your hardest and you were trying to live by the values that you have, and for whatever reason, things got in the way, that is just life. And it's really hard when trying to live a lifestyle that's different to what everybody else is living. And whilst over the past couple of years, we have seen a massive shift in people's mindset towards environmental living, eco-friendly living, there is still a massive gap between people who fully embrace sort of the zero waste lifestyle, the zero waste ethos, and those who don't. And I'm not saying that they're any worse at all in terms of their values, but what I am saying is that can be really frustrating, especially around Christmas time, when Christmas can be quite a stressful time of year anyway. So hopefully you had a fantastic Christmas and you produced low waste to zero waste, but if you didn't, it's okay, because Christmas comes every year, so you can learn from what you did last year, what didn't quite work out, and make changes for next year. So if you are watching this live, please give me a hashtag live. If you're watching this on replay, please give me a hashtag replay. If you want to join in the conversation throughout this live, please do. Please write in the comments. I am doing this on a desktop, so I will be able to read your comments down the side as I am talking to you, so you can literally join in the conversation. So if you have any additional points you want to add, if I'm talking about something that you are already really great at, please let me know. If I'm talking about something and you have got a different opinion, again, please say, because in the whole of sort of environmental living, zero waste living, it is absolutely something where we all need to learn from each other, because there is no perfect blueprint for how to be zero waste. We need to learn and adapt with each other. So we need to support each other and help each other lower waste, myself included. I need to learn from other people. And it just so happens that I am in a position that I have a platform at which to share ideas and opinions. So use the platform is basically what I think you should be doing. So tonight's live, I'm confused because I always do this on a Wednesday and it's not a Wednesday, it's a Friday and it's 3 p.m. and it's not the evening. So I'll start that one again. This afternoon, I am going to be talking about exercise routines. So I set myself quite a few different goals throughout 2020, and the goals sort of stretch from personal life through to work life, exercise, what I want to do in terms of new things to try out, like new activities, new sports, all of those sorts of things. So whilst my overall goal isn't necessarily focused just on exercise, it is something that over the past couple of years, I've always tried to have a focal point within my goals that I set for the year with exercise. So my last year's one was to run a half marathon and be my personal best. Now, if you were following my Instagram stories last year, and I think I mentioned it on a live, I tried to beat my personal best half marathon last year. And then they rerouted the marathon whilst I was running it. So, not whilst I was running it, sorry. Before we had set off from the start line, they had rerouted the marathon. So, I didn't actually run a full marathon when I thought I would. So, I didn't get, the app didn't show that I'd done it in less time. So, maybe in me, I did a Boxing Day run where I did a half marathon just to be like, did it, mate, done my goal. So yeah, that was my last year one. This year I had intended that I wanted to do a half marathon somewhere else in the world. So I was thinking of doing it somewhere in Europe so I could get the train there and do a bit of exploring, do a half marathon. But then I was chatting to my brother and my cousin, and we're actually thinking of doing a mud run, obstacle course, whatever it might be. So watch this space, I will let you know. But anyway, these points that I've come up with for today's live, that's the better word to use, isn't it? Not tonight's live. For today's live, are about how to lower your waist when you're just doing normal exercise. So typically I like to do running. I also like to do yoga. I do a lot of walking, and I occasionally cycle, but very occasionally. I don't own my own bike, but now I'm living at my parents', they have more bikes than people in this house. So there are bikes available for me to use. So these 5 points that I've come up with are ways to lower your waist when you're either doing sort of daily, weekly exercise routines, or when you are running a specific race or going to a specific sporting event. So point number 1 is one that's typical for zero waste living as a whole. So it is say no to the freebies. When you go along to large running events, they also love to give you a t-shirt. It's marketing for them because you pop the new t-shirt on and then you're looking great, and then they can take pictures of you, and then you go away and you're basically advertising their race. They might also give you a goodie bag full of free samples, which is obviously to get you to try it, fall in love, buy some more. I know it's cynical, but it's true. They'll give you vouchers to go and test new things that maybe you didn't even need to test. I avoid the tat bag because it lures me in. It just does. So I think if I don't pick one up, yes, those things may go to waste, but as far as I know, if there is food in there, they actually have to donate it on to some sort of food bank. But I personally feel better leaving that freebie there than I do taking it and then having to deal with the waste myself, even if I'm the person who knows how to separate the waste properly and what's landfill and what could be recycled, what could be reused. I prefer not to take it in the first place. Now, I know some races now allow you not to select to have a freebie, but not all of them. So hopefully you're running races that let you select that, but if not, I would recommend not taking those freebies. And if you sign up to a new gym and they want to give you a water bottle or a bag, whatever, and you already have those things, say no thank you, and just take what you've already got. That moves me on to packing your own kit. So whenever I'm talking about people starting their zero waste journey, they typically already have all of the stuff to start living zero waste. I know I definitely did, but I was also the person who went out and bought new shiny things because I thought that's what I needed to do. I thought that I needed to fit the certain criteria of zero waste living. So whilst I already had a water bottle and I already had Tupperware boxes, I went and bought matchy things to look sweet. And looking back on it, that was ridiculous. But at the time, I just thought, that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to do it. I don't have the money to do it. On I go. Whereas now I'm firmly in the belief that you've probably already got the stuff. If you haven't, you can probably find it at charity shops. You can make do without it or use what you've already got. So when it comes to doing exercise, comes to running races, pack what you've already got. So if you are going swimming, take snacks with you for afterwards rather than be like, I'm so hungry, and then having to eat in the cafe or get something from the vending machine, which might be in non-recyclable packaging. If you are doing a long race, see whether you can have friends and family meet you along the course and give you snacks or water. Or if you are able to, carry it with you somehow. So some people have those super fancy belts where they can pop water bottles on there and snacks. Go for it. So it is a tip that is used in all of zero waste living. It is basically just to plan ahead and to think about all sorts of things that might come up. You might get hungry, you might need a drink, and just plan that into your exercise routine. The next one is about where you exercise. So I hate gyms. I'm going to say it. I really despise going to the gym. Like, I know some people love it. It's not for me. So I typically will do outdoor exercise, or I'll do home workouts, or I'll go to a yoga studio. Now, when you are picking where to go and do your workout, whether you go to a gym or whether you do it outside, have a think about the location, because if you're picking somewhere that is closer to home, you may be more likely to be able to walk there, run there, cycle there, which will mean that you won't have to go in the car, and that will cut down on your CO2 emissions. If you're able to do the home workouts like I was on about, that might mean that you're more likely to stick to your new routine, because you don't actually need to go anywhere. You don't need to go through that process of getting to where you need to go in the first place. Having said that, I understand that maybe you may live somewhere where there is no way you can get to any place where you could exercise without the need for a car. That's totally okay. You do you. Pick the other points and leave this one. That's totally fine. Or you might be someone who says, I actually exercise when I'm coming home from work or I'm going into work, so I do drive there, but it's en route to something else, whatever. That's totally okay. But just have a think about whether you can you could relocate where you do your routine, whether you are in the fancy pants gym across town, but actually you could do the one that's sort of in your neighborhood. The next point is about your equipment. Your equipment or your clothing. So if you're someone who is big into home workouts and has sort of gym equipment, maybe weights, treadmills, I don't know, it's not really my jam, but it might well be many of yours. Have a look at whether you can buy anything secondhand. So apps such as Spock, Gumtree are fabulous for these sorts of things. Websites such as eBay are brilliant, but also just going around charity shops. So if you think about the fact that people probably ask for some sort of gymmy equipment for Christmas, and maybe come mid to end January, they haven't used the stuff. So going around charity shops and looking for gym equipment, that's kind of a prime time to go. Also, I have got a running jacket from a charity shop for a couple of pounds, and it served me really well. I love charity shop clothing. I know some people are a bit like, oh, you don't know where it's been. Bung it in the wash and it'll be fine, in my opinion. So, you know, all those sorts of things you can get secondhand. However, if you are that kind of person who's like, nope, I'm not doing that, or you have your eye on a very specific piece of equipment, a very specific item of clothing, I don't know, maybe it's some performance wear that you know you want to get that particular brand, then buy better, and by buying better, it should last longer. So yeah, save up money to buy the item at the highest quality and then take good care of it. So either by following the manufacturer's advice and guidance, or just, you know, using your noggin and using a bit of common sense to make said item last as long as it possibly can. Also, if you've bought an item of a higher quality and for whatever reason in the future you decide that it's not going to serve you anymore, you should be able to sell it on said apps such as Gumtree, such as Spock, eBay, and get some good dollar for it. Whereas if you're buying cheap and nasty and it's nearly broken and you're trying to sell it on, not ideal. And my final tip is about sneaky exercise. So what I mean by sneaky exercise is it's that kind of thing where you're exercising, but you don't really know you are. So I walk a lot, like I said, so I don't own a car. I'm not going to be like holier than thou and say, oh, I don't own a car. It's literally just convenience for me and price. I've never lived anywhere where I have needed a car. I've always been on like bus routes or close to a train station, like close enough that I just simply don't need a car. I don't really like driving. Like, I know it looks like it's a super eco-friendly reason I've opted for this, but it's really not. It's mostly just like laziness, and where I live I don't need it, so I don't have a car. But as a consequence of that, that means I do a lot more walking because I have to walk to said public transport, and then typically I also am the kind of person who likes to carry the biggest backpack around in the world, partly probably because I'm zero waste and I carry a whole lot of crap in my bag, but also when I'm doing shopping and things, or when I'm going to an event and I'm carrying all of these bags and I'm going on the train or I'm going on the bus, yeah, I look a little bit like a crazy woman. But equally, I'm there thinking like, I'm doing an extra workout here because I am walking with a lot of stuff, and that means that I am doing like ab exercises without really even realizing it. I mean, at the time I realize it because it's painful, but you catch my drift. So you can cheat yourself into exercising by putting it into your commute, or by making your commute shorter. So maybe parking somewhere slightly further away. So if you're going to the shops or if you're going to work, and you can park further away from where you need to go, or getting off the bus or the train one stop earlier than you need to, so you can get a little bit extra steppage in. I used to cycle to work when I was working in the city centre, and I was living not too far, sort of 3 miles out of the city centre, and that was a really nice length of journey. So I would cycle into work, I'd have a shower and work, go about my day, and then I'd cycle back home, and that was awfully pleasant. So that was a really good way for me to do a lot of exercise, but not really feel like I was doing exercise because it had a purpose to it. It wasn't like an extra chunk out of my evening or my morning where I have to set aside the extra time to do the exercise. So those are your 5 thoughts about how you can lower exercise waste in 2020. So let me know your thoughts. If you have got any exercise related New Year's resolutions, pop them in the comments. And it will be a form of accountability, you know? If you say it out loud, we'll be like, did you do it? I won't be like that. But by you putting it there, you will have declared your goal, and therefore more likely to achieve it, hopefully. So thank you very much for joining me at this sort of sporadically timed live. I will speak to you next week, but just before I go, if you want me to send you these lives every single week, so I record them live, but then I download them and I upload them to YouTube, and every week I send our newsletter subscribers a link to our live video from the week before. So if you're thinking, oh, you keep changing the times of the live, I just want the videos, then direct message me your email. I will put you on our newsletter list, and then each week I will just send you the new live video. So you can be like, oh, okay, I don't even need to think about it. I just need to click this email. So I send those emails every single Monday. Whatever day of the week I've done the live, I send those emails on a Monday, and you'll be able to watch that live back. So direct message me, don't comment me with your email, otherwise lots of people get your emails. So yeah, just send me a message and I will pop you on the list. I will speak to you next week, and it is going to be continued in the theme of January, so like kind of New Year's resolution, clear out, all those January joyful things that happen around this kind of time of year. Have a fabulous week, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.